Okay, so I would like to start by Saba mentioned that terrorism is no longer as big of an issue, and the FBI is now using or abusing the rights that they were given in the Patriot Act. However, I have information or quotes that say that terrorism is still a big issue today. So in an article called "Officials Fight to Keep the Patriot Act" by Fox News, it says that the kinds of threats the Patriot Act is designed to protect us against are the kinds of threats the Patriot Act are designed to protect us against are the very kinds the administration is now describing as the most likely threats against the United States. So she mentioned that terrorism is no longer a problem, but this article here shows that terrorism is still a big issue, so we still need to use everything we can to deter the terrorists. And so the Patriot Act is essential as long as the terrorism is a serious threat. In an article called "The Patriot Act Necessary to Keep Our Nation Safe," today's extension will ensure that we continue to detect, track, and apprehend Al-Qaeda and other terrorists who wish to do harm against our citizens. Just as recent as Christmas Day, this was in 2010, we were reminded that we are still at war with terrorists who are engaged in a legal war with our nation. We have a responsibility to make sure every necessary step is taken to keep our nation safe. And so, maybe Patriot Act is essential as long as terrorism is still a serious threat. And in the same article, they say terrorism is still a huge problem for the United States and for the world. The immediacy of the threat may not be as prevalent as it was, but the threat is still there. So this is saying that terrorism may have gone down and may not be as big of an issue, but it's still a very important issue that can affect the whole world, so we need to take all the measures that we can to attack it. And another thing is that maybe terrorism is less of a threat because of the Patriot Act and its effectiveness. So we might not want to take it out. Because in an article called "Ashcroft Says the Patriot Act Deters Terrorists," and Ashcroft was the Surgeon General, more than 3,000 terrorists around the globe have been arrested since the Patriot Act's passage. So perhaps if there was no Patriot Act, those 3,000 terrorists might not have been deterred, and terrorism may still be an even bigger issue today. And when they're talking about sneak and peek warrants, where the government does not have to warn the people that they are entering their buildings, this is a pre-existing, this as well as information sharing and roving wiretaps. These are all pre-existing tools that were able to be used by the government in other crimes like drug crimes and child pornography crimes. So I don't know if they suggest that we remove those, are we just going to remove the laws for all different kinds of crimes or just terrorism? Because in their argument, they are still able to use roving wiretaps and sneak and peek warrants for every other type of crime except for terrorism. And as far as information sharing, agencies should be able to work together instead of butting heads in investigations. And in the same article, Ashcroft Says Patriot Act Deters Terrorists. Ashcroft, the Attorney General in 2003, said the legislation tore down a wall between law enforcement and intelligence gathering agencies such as the CIA, making it possible to work as partners instead of competitors in terrorism cases. So this is saying that the CIA and, say, the FBI, these agencies are no longer butting heads and getting each other's way because of bureaucratic grids. They're able to share all the information that they have and deter terrorists. Thank you.